The stars had been quiet for 300 years. Across the vast darkness of space, thousands of species traded, talked, and lived together in something they called peace. The Galactic Commerce Coalition kept this peace not with weapons but with money and promises. If someone attacked you, the Council would stop trading with them. That was supposed to be enough. It had been enough until now. In the Grand Chamber of the Coalition Council, Ambassador Elena Kovar stood before representatives of 200 worlds. Her dark hair was pulled back tight and her face showed no emotion, but her hands gripped the podium hard enough that her knuckles turned white. "The attacks are getting worse," she said. Her voice echoed in the huge room. "The Krevalian Dominion has raided 15 colonies in the past year. They are not just stealing anymore. They are killing." A ripple of sound moved through the chamber. The representatives shifted in their seats, their various forms creating a wave of movement. Some had scales, others had fur, and some were things that humans still had trouble describing. But they all had one thing in common. They looked uncomfortable. "The Council has issued sanctions," said Councillor Vresh, a tall being with purple skin and too many arms. His voice was calm, almost bored. "Economic pressure will force them to stop." Elena felt anger burning in her chest, but she kept her voice level. "Economic pressure does not bring back the dead. It does not protect the living. What do you suggest?" asked another councillor, this one looking like a floating jellyfish wrapped in light. "War, we are civilized beings. We do not resort to violence." "Then perhaps you should tell the Krevalians that," Elena said, because they seemed to have missed that message. The jellyfish being pulsed with colors that Elena's translator rendered as dismissive laughter. "Humanity has been part of this council for 150 years. In that time you have shown yourselves to be excellent merchants, talented artists, and skilled workers. But warriors? No, your people prefer profit to conflict. This is admirable. Do not throw away your reputation over a few unfortunate incidents." Elena wanted to scream. Unfortunate incidents. That was what they called the murder of 3,000 humans on the farming colony of New Vancouver. That was what they called the destruction of the research station above Terra Nova, where her own sister had died. But she said nothing. She simply gathered her papers and walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the council moved on to discussing trade routes and tariff disputes. Far from the clean halls of the council, Supreme Commander Thralzek of the Krevalian Dominion stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was massive, even for his species. His armor was decorated with the marks of 100 victories. His forearms rested on the railing as he looked at the screens before him. "The humans have filed another complaint with the council," his second-in-command reported. The smaller Krevalian checked his datapad. "They demand we stop raiding their colonies. They threaten consequences." Thralzek laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound that made the bridge crew look up with admiration. "Consequences? What will they do? Stop selling us their entertainment programs? Refuse to trade their trinkets?" He turned to face his crew. "Humans are merchants and jesters. They exist to serve real powers. They will complain. They will beg the council for help, and then they will accept whatever scraps we leave them. Perhaps we should be cautious," the second-in-command said quietly. "We know little about their military capabilities." "Because they have none worth knowing," Thralzek snapped. "I have studied every species in the coalition. The Vroon have their battle fleets. The Korathi have their warrior traditions. The humans, they have merchant ships and colony transports. In 150 years, they have never once responded to aggression with force. They are weak." He turned back to the screens. "Prepare the fleet. I have found our next target." The convoy was called Hope's Journey. 20 transport ships carrying 40,000 humans to a new colony world. Families, children, scientists and farmers and teachers. People looking for a fresh start among the stars. They never saw the Krevalian ships until it was too late. The attack was fast and brutal. The transports had no weapons. They tried to run, but the Krevalian warships were faster. One by one, the ships were torn apart. Escape pods were targeted and destroyed. Distress signals were jammed. When it was over, Thralzek broadcast the footage across coalition channels. He wanted everyone to see. He wanted them to know that the old rules no longer applied. "This is the new reality," his message said. "Power belongs to those willing to take it. The coalition is weak. Its rules are meaningless, and no one will stop us." On Earth, in the Situation Room deep beneath the surface, Elena Kovar watched the footage with a group of silent officials. Tears ran down her face, but she did not make a sound. The Secretary General of Earth, an old man named Chen Wei, turned off the screen. 40,000, he said quietly. Men, women, children. Murdered to make a point. The Council will do nothing, Elena said. Her voice was flat, empty. They will debate and discuss and issue statements. And more of our people will die. Chen Wei nodded slowly. Then we proceed with Red Dawn. Elena looked at him sharply. Are you sure? Once we start this, there is no going back. The galaxy thinks they know us. If we do this, everything changes. Everything has already changed, Chen Wei said. He pressed a button on the table. They killed our innocents. They did it knowing we would see. They did it because they think we are weak. He looked at Elena with eyes that had seen too much. It is time to remind the galaxy what humans really are. Across Earth and all its colonies, a message went out on channels that had been silent for 150 years. Military bases that were supposed to be museums suddenly came alive with activity. Ships that were listed as decommissioned in deep storage began powering up their engines. Soldiers who had trained in secret, generation after generation, received their orders. In the council chamber, representatives noticed that all human ambassadors were being recalled. They assumed it was a protest, a symbolic gesture. They sent messages asking Earth to reconsider, to work within the system. Every message went unanswered. Earth had gone silent. And in that silence, something ancient and terrible was waking up. Humanity had spent 150 years pretending to be something they were not. They had smiled and traded and entertained. They had let the galaxy think them soft, but humans never forgot. Humans never forgave. And humans had been preparing. The Crevalians thought no one would retaliate. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 3 weeks passed after the Hope's Journey massacre. The galaxy waited for Earth's response. It never came. In the council chamber, representatives grew confused. The Vroon ambassador tried to contact Earth's trade ministry. No response. The Pelthian envoy sent formal requests for negotiations. Silence. Even personal messages to human friends and colleagues went unanswered. It is unprecedented, Councillor Vresh said during an emergency session. Humanity has always been eager to communicate. Now they ignore everyone. Perhaps they are mourning, suggested the jellyfish being. 40,000 dead is significant even for them. Or perhaps they are finally accepting reality, said the Crevalian representative, a smaller member of Thralzek's command structure. He stood with his forearms crossed. They understand they cannot challenge us. They withdraw in shame. But some noticed other things. Human colonies were quietly evacuating non-essential personnel. Civilian transports were moving people away from frontier worlds. When asked about it, the few human officials who still responded gave vague answers about economic adjustments and resource management. No one suspected the truth. On his flagship, Supreme Commander Thralzek celebrated his victory. He had been promoted, given control of 3 more fleets. The Dominion was expanding and no one was stopping them. The Council's sanctions mean nothing, he told his officers at a feast. Our economy is strong. Our military is stronger. And the species of this galaxy are too comfortable to fight. What about the humans? Asked a young officer. Their silence seems unusual. Thralzek waved a dismissive hand. They are processing their defeat. Soon they will come begging for peace terms. We will accept, of course. After taking a few more of their colonies as compensation, he laughed and his officers laughed with him. The next day, Thralzek ordered raids on 3 human mining stations in the outer territories. Easy targets, lightly populated. His ships jumped into those systems expecting quick victories. They found the stations abandoned. Every human was gone. Equipment was left behind, but no people. It was strange, but Thralzek claimed the stations anyway. 3 more victories to add to his record. He did not notice that his ships were being watched. Far from any sun, in the darkness between stars, something massive was gathering. Ships unlike anything the current galaxy had seen. They did not appear on any registry. They did not broadcast identification signals. They simply waited in the black, accumulating in numbers that would have terrified anyone who knew they were there. Admiral Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the TDS Retribution. He was 60 years old with gray hair and steady hands. He had never fired a shot in anger in his entire career. His entire life had been training for a war he hoped would never come. That hope was dead now. Fleet status. he said quietly. All 500 ships report ready, his first officer replied. Commander Sarah Okonkwo was younger, but she had the same look in her eyes. The look of someone who had trained for decades and now faced the reality of what that training meant. Weapon systems are armed. Strike teams are in position. Intelligence has confirmed all primary targets. Marcus nodded. He looked at the tactical display showing the Krivalian Dominion's territory. 7 systems, 43 major military installations, hundreds of ships. They had studied every detail for years. How long have we been preparing for this? He asked. Protocol Red Dawn was initiated 147 years ago, Sarah said, 3 years after first contact. When our leaders realized the galaxy might not be as peaceful as we hoped. Marcus remembered his history. When humans first met aliens, there had been joy and wonder. But the military leaders had looked at the thousands of species, the complex politics, the casual violence of some cultures, and they had asked a simple question. What if someone decides we are easy targets? So Earth had built a secret fleet. Generation after generation, humans trained in hidden bases. They studied every species' tactics and technology. They prepared for the day that someone would mistake human kindness for human weakness. That day had come. Send the authorization request to Earth, Marcus said. The message was simple. It required approval from every major government on Earth and all the colony worlds. The question was basic. Do we go to war? The response came back in 20 minutes. Marcus had expected debate, discussion. Instead, the message was 2 words. Repeated by every government. Unanimously approved. Attached was a statement from the Secretary General. Show them what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. Marcus took a deep breath. He thought of the 40,000 dead. He thought of the 3,000 killed on New Vancouver. He thought of his daughter, who had been planning to join Hope's journey before she got sick and delayed her departure. Pure luck had saved her life. All ships, he said into the fleet-wide channel. This is Admiral Chen. For 150 years we have worked to be better than we were. We left behind the wars that nearly destroyed us. We tried to build something new among the stars. His voice was calm, but it carried across 500 ships. But evil exists, and when evil comes for the innocent, good people must stand. Not because we want to, because we must, he paused. We are not conquerors. We are not here for glory or territory. We are here because 40,000 innocent people were murdered, and no one else will deliver justice. We fight with precision. We fight with honor, and we fight to ensure this never happens again. Marcus looked at the tactical display one more time. All ships prepare to jump. Target Crevalis Prime. Let us show them what humans can do. The fleet jumped. In 7 different Krivalian systems, alarms suddenly screamed. Sensors detected massive objects appearing from faster-than-light travel. Ships. Hundreds of them. But these were not the cargo vessels and colony transports the Krivalians knew. These were warships, bristling with weapons that the galaxy had not seen in centuries. On a patrol route near the ruins of Shepard's Rest Colony, a Krivalian captain named Vekthal watched his sensors with confusion. His ship had detected what appeared to be a damaged human freighter drifting in space. Easy salvage. He moved to investigate. Then his sensors lit up with new contacts. Dozens of them appearing behind his small fleet. What are those? His sensor officer whispered. Vekthal looked at the display. The ships were huge, armored, and they were moving into attack formation with a precision that spoke of extensive training. He tried to hail them, to demand identification. Instead, a message came through on all frequencies. A human voice speaking perfect Krivalian. Krivalian vessels, this is the Terran Defense Force. Stand down and prepare to be boarded. Resist and you will be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to decide. Vekthal felt all 4 of his hands shaking. Terran Defense Force? I have never heard of... Captain! His sensor officer shouted. More contacts! They are everywhere. Vekthal looked at the screen. The 30 seconds were counting down. He thought of Thralzek's words. Humans are weak. They will not fight, but these ships did not look weak, and the weapons targeting his fleet were very real. Stand down, he said quietly. Lower shields. Do not resist, but Captain, do it! His fleet powered down weapons. The human ships moved in, fast and efficient. Boarding parties transferred over, securing the Krivalian ships in minutes. Vekthal found himself face to face with a human soldier in black armor. The soldier's weapon was pointed at him, steady and sure. You were at the Hope's Journey massacre, the soldier said. It was not a question. Your ship's energy signature was identified in the footage. Bechthal said nothing. What could he say? You are now a prisoner of war, the soldier continued. You will be treated according to the laws of war. You will not be tortured. You will not be executed without trial. You will be fed and given medical care if needed. The soldier leaned closer. We are not you. As Bechthal was led away, he managed to send one final message before his communications were cut. Just one word transmitted on emergency frequencies to any Krevalian ship that could hear. Impossible. The word was cut off as human jamming technology locked down the system. But it was too late. Across the Krevalian Dominion, commanders received reports. Human ships, hundreds of them, attacking multiple systems simultaneously. And Supreme Commander Thralzek, sitting in his command center on Krevalis Prime, felt fear for the first time in his life as his orbital defense platforms began to explode. The Battle of Krevalis Prime lasted 6 hours. For the Krevalians, it felt like 6 years. Admiral Marcus Chen watched from the bridge of the Retribution as his fleet tore through the orbital defenses. The Krevalian stations were heavily armed, designed to hold off any invasion, but they had been built to face the tactics the galaxy knew. Frontal assaults, ship-to-ship combat, predictable strategies from the old military handbooks. Humans fought differently. Electronic warfare teams. Execute protocol blackout, Marcus ordered. Across the Krevalian defense network, communications went dark. Command ships lost contact with their fleets. Targeting systems failed. Defense platforms suddenly could not identify friend from foe. In 30 seconds, the entire Krevalian command structure was blind. Then the human ships struck. They did not charge in randomly. Each ship knew its target. Strike teams had been planning this assault for months, studying every station, every ship, every weakness. Railguns fired solid projectiles at incredible speeds, punching through shields that were designed to stop energy weapons. Missile swarms saturated point defense systems. And when the Krevalians tried to adapt, the humans changed tactics again. They are retreating to Formation Delta 7, Commander Okonkwo reported, just as our intelligence predicted. Deploy the drone swarms, Marcus said. Thousands of small attack drones launched from the human ships. They were too small and numerous for the Krevalian weapons to track effectively. They swarmed the enemy vessels like insects, targeting engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. On the surface of Krevalis Prime, Supreme Commander Thralzek watched his defense grid collapse. How is this possible? He roared. Humans do not have military fleets. Our intelligence said, our intelligence was wrong. His second-in-command shouted back. They have been hiding these ships for decades, maybe centuries. Thralzek slammed a fist on the console. Send everything we have. Every ship, every fighter. I want those humans destroyed. His fleet launched. Over 300 Krevalian warships rose to meet the human forces. They outnumbered the attackers. They were confident in their weapons and training. They were the Dominion's finest. They lasted 18 minutes. The human ships moved like they were controlled by a single mind. When Krevalian forces grouped together, the humans scattered and attacked from multiple angles. When the Krevalians spread out, the humans concentrated their fire and destroyed ships one by one. Every tactic that Thralzek used was countered before it could develop. It is like they know what we will do before we do it. A Krevalian captain screamed over the communication channel before his ship exploded. They were right. Humans had been studying Krevalian tactics for years. Every battle doctrine, every training manual, every recorded engagement. Human analysts had built computer models that could predict Krevalian responses with terrifying accuracy. But it was not just the tactics. The human weapons were brutal in their efficiency. Hellfire protocol authorization received, Okonkwo said quietly. Target packages confirmed. All targets are military installations with no civilian populations within 50 kilometers. Marcus nodded. He hated this part. But war was not about feelings. Execute Hellfire. From orbit, human ships dropped what looked like simple metal rods. They were not explosive. They did not need to be. They were heavy, dense, and accelerated to incredible speeds by the time they hit atmosphere. The kinetic energy was devastating. Krevalian military bases simply ceased to exist. Command bunkers built to survive nuclear strikes were turned into craters. Shipyards became molten metal. Weapons factories vanished in clouds of superheated debris. The Crevalian people watched in horror from their cities. But the cities were not touched. The civilian areas were untouched. Every strike was precise, calculated to destroy military capability while avoiding innocent lives. It was a message. We can destroy you completely, but we choose not to. Thralzek watched from his bunker as his military collapsed around him. This cannot be happening, he whispered. We are the Dominion. We are conquerors. Then his communications console activated. A human face appeared on the screen. An older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He spoke in perfect Crevalian. Supreme Commander Thralzek, I am Admiral Marcus Chen of the Terran Defense Force. Your orbital defenses are destroyed. Your fleet is scattered. Your military production is offline. You have one option. Thralzek found his voice. I will never surrender to weaklings like you. Marcus's expression did not change. You killed 40,000 innocent humans, children, families, people who had never harmed anyone. You did it to prove your strength. He leaned forward slightly. I have 500 warships in orbit around your homeworld. I could reduce your entire planet to ash. Every city, every building, every living thing. Do you know why I have not? Thralzek said nothing. Because we are not you, Marcus said. We do not murder innocents. We do not commit genocide. We are here to ensure you never threaten anyone again. Not to exterminate you. He paused. Stand down. Order your forces to surrender. Your people will be treated fairly. Your military will be disarmed and leaders tried for war crimes. But your people will live. And if I refuse, then we will continue to systematically destroy every military asset you have. Eventually you will have nothing left. Your people will survive, but your dominion will be a memory. Marcus's voice remained calm. Or you can end this now, choose. Thralzek looked around his bunker. His officers would not meet his eyes. They had seen what the humans could do. They had seen precision and restraint combined with overwhelming force. How long do I have to decide? Thralzek asked. 1 hour, Marcus said. After that, we resume operations. The communication ended. Thralzek sat in silence for a long time. Far from Crevalis Prime, the galaxy watched in shock. The Council had been in continuous emergency session since the first reports came in. Human warships. Hundreds of them. Attacking across multiple systems simultaneously. Where did they come from? Councillor Resch demanded. How did we not know about this fleet? Ambassador Elena Kovar had returned to the Council. She stood at the podium, and for the first time in years she smiled. It was not a happy smile. You did not know because you did not look, she said. You saw what you wanted to see. Humans as traders and entertainers. Friendly, harmless, you never asked what we did in our own territory. You never wondered why Earth maintained such extensive asteroid mining operations in deep space. You assumed we were simply industrious. Those mining operations were shipyards, the jellyfish being said quietly. Some of them, Elena confirmed. We have been building and training for 147 years. Every generation of humans knew that someday, someone might mistake our desire for peace as inability to fight. We prepared. We hoped we would never need it. Her smile faded. Then you let the Crevalians murder 40,000 of our people. You talked about sanctions and diplomacy while our innocents died. You should have told us. Fresh shouted. You should have warned us you had this capability. Why? Elena asked coldly. So you could fear us too? So you could treat us as a threat instead of a partner? We wanted to be part of this community. We tried for 150 years to be the peaceful species you wanted us to be. She looked around the chamber. But when 40,000 of our people were murdered and you did nothing, we remembered what we really are. Survivors, protectors, and when necessary, warriors. A message came through. All screens in the council chamber switched to show Admiral Chen's broadcast. He was speaking on all frequencies in every major galactic language. People of the galaxy, this is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Terran Defense Force. 17 days ago, the Crevalian Dominion murdered 40,000 human civilians. The Council issued sanctions. It was not enough. Today, humanity responded. The screens showed footage of the battles, Crevalian ships being destroyed. Military bases turned to rubble, but also showed human ships carefully avoiding civilian areas, showed captured Crevalian soldiers being treated with medical care, showed precision where genocide would have been easier. We did not want this war. Marcus continued. We spent 150 years trying to be better than we were. But the galaxy needed to understand something. Humanity chooses peace. But choice is not the same as inability. When you attack our innocent, when you count on our restraint to protect you from consequences, you make a terrible mistake. He paused. The Crevalian Dominion has surrendered. Their military is being disarmed. Their leaders will face justice. Their people will be free to rebuild in peace. This is how humans wage war. With precision, with purpose, and with mercy. The transmission ended. In his bunker, Thralzek looked at his officers. They had all heard the broadcast. They had all seen the footage. "Give the order," he said quietly. "All forces stand down. We surrender." As the message went out, Thralzek felt something he had never experienced before. Not quite respect, but close to it. The humans had beaten them completely, and then offered mercy. He thought of the 40,000 dead humans. He thought of how he had laughed about it. For the first time, Supreme Commander Thralzek felt shame. The war had lasted 17 days. The peace would take much longer. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in the command center that had been Thralzek's bunker 2 days ago. Maps and tactical displays covered the walls, now showing the disposition of human occupation forces across Crevalian space. He had not slept more than 4 hours in the past week. "Status report," he said to Commander Okonkwo. "All Crevalian military forces have surrendered. We have secured their shipyards, weapons factories, and command centers. Civilian government is functioning normally. No resistance." She paused. "0 human casualties during the entire operation." Marcus nodded slowly. 0 casualties. It should have made him proud. Instead, it just made him tired. And the Crevalians. Approximately 15,000 military deaths. Another 30,000 wounded. All injured are receiving medical treatment from our field hospitals. Okonkwo looked at her datapad. Their civilian population is calm. Confused but calm. They expected genocide. They are getting aid packages and medical supplies instead. Good. Marcus sat down heavily. "Have we located all their leaders?" "Most are in custody. Thralzek is being held in a secure facility. He has been cooperative." Okonkwo hesitated. "Admiral, he asked to speak with you." Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. "Schedule it for tomorrow. Right now I need to address Earth." The communication was on a secured channel directly to the Secretary General and the assembled leaders of Earth. Marcus saw their faces on the screen. They looked proud, victorious. "Admiral Chen," Secretary General Wei said, "congratulations. The operation was a complete success, was it?" Marcus asked quietly. The faces on the screen showed confusion. "We won," Marcus continued. "We showed our strength. We dismantled their military in days, and we did it all while maintaining the moral high ground." He looked down at his hands. "But we also revealed what we are. The galaxy will never look at us the same way again. They will respect us," said the Prime Minister of Europa Colony. "They will fear us," Marcus corrected. "There is a difference. Respect is earned through trust. Fear is earned through violence. Even justified violence," and he looked back at the screen. "We spent 150 years building relationships as equals. Now we are the species with the hidden fleet, the ones who can strike anywhere and destroy anything. How long before they start seeing us as the threat?" Secretary General Wei leaned forward. "What would you have had us do? Let our people die unavenged? Show the galaxy that humans can be killed without consequence?" "No," Marcus said immediately. "We had to respond. I stand by every action we took. But we need to understand what we have become. We are no longer the friendly traitors. We are now the guardians, and guardians are never fully trusted, because everyone knows they have the power to become tyrants." The screen was silent for a moment. "Then we prove them wrong," said the African Union representative. "We show them that power does not corrupt us. We help rebuild what we destroyed. We create a system where this never happens again." Marcus nodded. "I hope you are right. Because if we fail, if we let this power change us, then we become the very thing we fought against." 3 days later, Ambassador Elena Kovar addressed the full council. The chamber was packed. Every species wanted to hear what humanity would say now that the truth was revealed. 150 years ago, Elena began, humanity came to the stars as survivors. We had nearly destroyed ourselves in wars that killed billions. Nuclear weapons, biological warfare, genocides and atrocities that still haunt our history books. We were broken, ashamed, and desperate to be better. She looked around the chamber. "When we met you, we saw a chance. a chance to leave that darkness behind, to be part of something peaceful and good. So we hid our weapons, we hid our fleets, we pretended to be something we were not. You lied to us, Counselor Vresh said. We omitted, Elena corrected. No one asked if we had military forces. You assumed we did not. We let you assume, because we wanted to be the peaceful species you saw. We wanted that to be our truth. But it was not, the jellyfish being said. No, Elena agreed, because peace is not the absence of capability. Peace is the choice not to use capability. We had the weapons all along. We chose not to use them. For 150 years we chose peace, she paused, until someone made that choice impossible. She pulled up a hologram showing the faces of the 40,000 dead from Hope's journey. Men, women, children. The images rotated slowly in the center of the chamber. These people chose peace, Elena said, her voice thick with emotion. They were farmers, teachers, doctors going to start a new life. They had no weapons. They threatened no one. And they were murdered for the crime of existing while being human. The chamber was silent. You want to know what humanity is? Elena continued. We are the species that remembers. We remember every genocide in our history, every war, every atrocity. We know what evil looks like because we have been evil. We know what monsters can do because we have been monsters. She looked directly at Counselor Vresh. That is why we prepared. That is why we hid our strength. Because we know that the universe has predators, and we swore that never again would we be prey. What do you want from us now? Vresh asked. We want to help, Elena said simply. We want to create a real defense force, not economic sanctions, not angry letters. A military force capable of protecting any member of the Council from aggression. We will share our technology. We will train your soldiers. But it will be a coalition force with oversight from the Council. Why would you share your advantage? The jellyfish being asked. Because we do not want to be the only ones with the power, Elena said. We do not want to be galactic police forcing our will on others. We want partners, equals. We want to teach you what we learned the hard way. That strength is not about conquest. It is about protection. The proposal was called the Sentinel Initiative. It would take weeks of debate before it was approved. But in that moment, looking at the faces of the dead, many council members began to understand what humanity was offering. Not domination, partnership. On Crevalis Prime, Marcus finally met with Thralzek. The former Supreme Commander sat in a cell that was clean and well lit. He was not chained. He had been given food and medical care. It confused him. Why am I still alive? Thralzek asked when Marcus entered. Because we do not execute prisoners, Marcus said simply. He sat down across from the Crevalian. You will stand trial. If found guilty of war crimes, you will be imprisoned. But you will live. I killed 40,000 of your people. Yes. In my culture, such a crime demands death. In many human cultures, it does too, Marcus agreed. But we decided long ago that execution makes us no better than murderers. Justice is not revenge. It is consequence. Thralzek studied the human with his 4 eyes. I do not understand you. You could have destroyed my entire species. Instead, you show mercy. Why? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because our history is full of genocides. Times when we decided an entire group of people deserved to die for the crimes of some. It never made things better. It only created more hatred, more violence, more death. He looked at Thralzek. We want to break that cycle. Show the galaxy that justice does not require atrocity. Your people must hate me. They do, Marcus said honestly. But hate does not give us the right to become monsters. That is the hard part of civilization. Doing the right thing even when every instinct says to do otherwise. Thralzek lowered his head. I thought you were weak. I see now that I was the weak one. You have strength I cannot comprehend. The strength to show mercy to an enemy who showed you none. It is not easy, Marcus admitted. Every day I think about the 40,000 dead. I think about how easy it would be to let my anger control me. But then I think about what we would become if we did. We would be just another violent species. Just another conqueror. He stood up. We are trying to be better. We fail sometimes, but we keep trying. As Marcus left the cell, Thralzek called out, Admiral, for what it is worth, I am sorry. Truly sorry. Marcus stopped but did not turn around. Tell that to the families of the dead. If they forgive you, that will mean something. That night, Marcus sat alone in his quarters aboard the Retribution. He had received a message from his daughter. She was safe, alive, grateful. She had asked if he was proud of what they had accomplished. Marcus did not know how to answer. They had won. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be trifled with. They had delivered justice for the dead, but the cost was not measured in casualties. It was measured in innocence lost. Humanity had tried so hard to leave violence behind. Now it was part of them again. Commander Okonkwo found him staring out at the stars. "Admiral, the Council has approved the Sentinel Initiative. They want us to begin training operations immediately." "Good," Marcus said quietly. "Sir, are you all right?" Marcus thought about the question. "I won a war without losing a single soldier. I destroyed an enemy and showed mercy. I did everything right." He turned to look at her. "So why do I feel like I lost something important?" Okonkwo sat down beside him. "Because you are human. Because you know what violence costs even when it is necessary. That is not weakness, Admiral. That is wisdom." "I hope you are right," Marcus said, "because the galaxy is watching us now. And I am terrified of what they see." 3 months after the Crevalian surrender, the galaxy had settled into an uneasy new normal. Human military advisors trained coalition forces. Shipyards that once built weapons of conquest now produced defensive platforms. And everyone tried to forget the 17 days when the universe had changed. Then the darkness returned. The signal came from an automated observation post at the edge of Council space. It was a standard scientific station, monitoring cosmic radiation and mapping distant stars. The crew of 12 researchers from 3 different species sent one brief message before going silent. "Something massive incoming. Not natural. Repeat, not nature." The station vanished. No debris, no life pods. Simply gone. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in the Council's Emergency Operations Center studying the data. What little there was of it. The station recorded an energy signature before it was destroyed, Counselor Vresh said. The purple-skinned being looked shaken. "We have checked our historical archives. The signature matches records from 4 million years ago." "What happened 4 million years ago?" Ambassador Elena Kovar asked. "The extinction," said an elderly representative from the Karathi species. Her voice was like gravel scraping stone. "Before our time. Before most of our species evolved. The archives speak of a great darkness that swept through the galaxy. Civilizations that numbered in the thousands were reduced to scattered survivors." "What caused it?" Marcus asked. "They called it the Voidborn," the Karathi said. "Machines. Not alive but not dead. They came from the darkness between galaxies. They consumed, destroyed, and then they vanished. The survivors thought they were gone forever. They were wrong," Elena said quietly. Over the next week, 3 more observation posts went dark. Each time the pattern was the same. Brief warning. Energy signature matching the ancient records, then silence. The Voidborn were not attacking randomly. They were sweeping inward, system by system, getting closer to inhabited worlds. The Council convened an emergency session. For the first time, Marcus noticed that representatives looked at the humans differently. Not with fear, with hope. "We need your fleet," Counselor Vresh said without preamble. "You showed us what human military capabilities can do. We need that now." "What do we know about these Voidborn?" Marcus asked. "Very little," the Karathi representative admitted. "The ancient records are fragmentary. They were machines that could replicate themselves. They adapted to weapons used against them. They showed no interest in communication or mercy. They simply destroyed. How were they stopped before? They were not stopped. They left. No one knows why." Marcus felt a cold weight in his stomach. An enemy that adapted, that could not be reasoned with, that had destroyed thousands of civilizations. This was not like fighting the Crevalians. This was something else entirely. "We will help," he said, "but we cannot do this alone. We need every species to contribute. This is not humanity's fight. This is everyone's survival." The Sentinel Initiative was activated 2 years ahead of schedule. Human ships formed the core of a coalition fleet, but they were joined by vessels from 40 different species. The Vroon brought their energy weapons. The Karathi contributed their warriors. Even the Crevalians, still rebuilding under oversight, asked to help. Thralzek himself, stripped of rank but not of pride, presented himself to Marcus. The former Supreme Commander looked different, thinner. His armor was gone, replaced with simple clothing, but his 4 eyes burned with purpose. "You showed me mercy," Thralzek said. "You could have executed me." Instead, you gave me time to understand what I had become. A monster wearing a soldier's armor. He straightened. Let me earn that mercy. Let me fight for something besides conquest. Marcus studied him for a long moment. Every instinct said no. This was the being who had murdered 40,000 humans. But he thought of Elena's words to the council. We want to be better. You will serve under Commander Okonkwo, Marcus said finally. You follow orders without question. You protect those who cannot protect themselves. And if you survive this, maybe you will find redemption. Thralzek nodded, all four hands clasped in a gesture of respect. I will not fail you. The fleet gathered at the edge of council space. Over 1,000 ships. It was the largest military force the current galaxy had ever assembled. They waited at a system called Threshold, the last inhabited world before the area where the Voidborn were approaching. Marcus stood on the bridge of the Retribution, looking at the tactical display. Beside him, Elena had come as an observer for the council. Do you think we can win? She asked quietly. I do not know, Marcus admitted. Every battle I have studied, every strategy I know is based on fighting living opponents. Beings who fear death, who make mistakes, who can be surprised. These things are machines. They do not fear. They do not tire. They just keep coming. Then what do we do? Marcus smiled grimly. We improvise. Humanity's greatest strength. When plans fail, we adapt. When logic fails, we try something illogical. We are survivors, Elena. We have faced extinction a dozen times in our history. We are still here. The Voidborn arrived 6 hours later. The sensors detected them first. Massive contacts, hundreds of them, emerging from the darkness between stars. They did not use standard faster-than-light travel. They simply appeared, as if reality itself was letting them through. Mother of God, Okonkwo whispered. The Voidborn ships were vast. Each one was the size of a moon, black as the void they came from, covered in structures that seemed to shift and change. They moved with eerie grace like predators stalking prey. All ships battle stations, Marcus ordered. His voice was calm, but his heart hammered. Remember your training. Protect each other, and do not give up. The Voidborn opened fire first. The weapons were unlike anything the Coalition had seen. Beams of energy that simply erased matter, missiles that split into thousands of smaller projectiles, and worst of all, a field that surrounded each Voidborn ship. Anything that hit the field was absorbed, analyzed, and then the Voidborn adapted. Energy weapons became ineffective. Missiles were intercepted. The Coalition fleet fought desperately. Ships from dozens of species fired everything they had. For every Voidborn vessel destroyed, 2 more appeared. They were replicating, building new ships even as the battle raged. We cannot win like this, Okonkwo said. They adapt too quickly. Marcus watched the battle unfold. She was right. Every tactic they tried was countered within minutes. The Voidborn were learning from each attack, becoming more efficient. Then he noticed something. A small Crevalian ship, damaged and venting atmosphere, was drifting toward a Voidborn vessel. The Voidborn ignored it, focused on larger threats. The small ship exploded when it hit the Voidborn hull, and for just a moment a section of the adaptive field flickered. They ignored damaged ships, Marcus said. They prioritize active threats. He activated the fleet-wide channel. All ships knew strategy. Simulate critical damage and drift toward Voidborn vessels. When you are close enough, overload your reactors. We are going to use ourselves as bombs. Admiral, that is suicide, someone protested. It is sacrifice, Marcus corrected. Evacuate crews to other ships when possible. But we need to take down that adaptation field. He looked at Okonkwo. I am going to lead the first run. Sir, you cannot. I can and I will. Prepare the Retribution for reactor overload. All non-essential crew to evacuation pods. Elena grabbed his arm. Marcus, no. You cannot just kill yourself. I am not killing myself. I am buying time. He gently removed her hand. Get to an escape pod. That is an order. The Retribution powered down its weapons and began venting atmosphere, mimicking a crippled ship. The Voidborn ignored it just as Marcus had hoped. The massive warship drifted closer to the largest Voidborn vessel. On the bridge, only Marcus remained. He had overridden the evacuation protocols, sealing himself in. This way, he could control the ship until the last moment. All ships, he transmitted. When the Retribution detonates, target the gap in the adaptation field. You will have maybe 30 seconds before it regenerates. Make them count. The Retribution was now close enough to see the structures on the void-born hull. Strange geometries that hurt to look at, weapons that could end worlds, and behind the adaptive field something that might be a power core. Marcus thought of his daughter, his home, the 40,000 dead on Hope's journey, all the people counting on him to find a way. For humanity, he whispered. For all of us. His hand moved to the reactor controls. Then an alarm blared. Something was overriding his systems. The bridge door exploded inward. Thralzek stood there in a combat environment suit. Behind him, a small team of Crevalian and human soldiers. What are you doing? Marcus demanded. Stopping you from doing this alone, Thralzek said. He moved to the navigation controls. The Retribution has been evacuated. But you missed something. This ship has escape pods in engineering. One is still functional. I sealed this ship. I am very good at breaking seals, Thralzek said, with what might have been a smile. Now go, let me do this. Marcus stared at him. Why? Because you showed me what honor means. Real honor, not the twisted thing I thought I understood. You protect the weak. You sacrifice for others. You give second chances. Thralzek's 4 hands worked the controls. I was given a second chance. Let me use it for something good. The soldiers grabbed Marcus physically, dragging him toward the escape pod. He fought them, but there were too many. Thralzek, wait. Tell my people I died as a warrior should. Protecting others. The former Supreme Commander locked eyes with Marcus one last time. Tell them I died as a friend. The escape pod launched. Through the window, Marcus watched as the Retribution accelerated toward the void-born ship. At the last moment, Thralzek detonated the reactor. The explosion was tremendous. It tore through the void-born adaptive field and punched into the hull beneath. For 30 precious seconds, the massive vessel was vulnerable. The Coalition fleet did not waste the opportunity. Every ship targeted that gap. Energy weapons, missiles, kinetic rounds. Everything they had concentrated on one point. The void-born ship's hull cracked. Then it exploded from within. A chain reaction that consumed the entire massive vessel. More ships followed Marcus's example. Crews evacuated, ships drifted close, reactors overloaded. It was costly. Ships that had taken years to build were destroyed in seconds. But it worked. One by one, the void-born vessels fell. A human engineer named Patterson had a breakthrough. He noticed the void-born ships networked with each other, sharing information to adapt more quickly. But that network had a weakness. If you could capture one of the small void-born drones intact, you could access the network. 3 ships sacrificed themselves to disable a drone without destroying it. Human technicians worked frantically to crack its programming. It took 4 hours, but they did it. They uploaded a virus into the void-born network. The virus did not destroy the void-born, but it confused them, made them see allies as enemies. Suddenly, the void-born ships were attacking each other. The battle turned. What had been a desperate defense became a rout. The void-born, facing internal conflict and sustained losses, began to withdraw. They pulled back toward the edge of the galaxy, moving into the darkness they came from. The Coalition fleet pursued, but Marcus called them back. Let them go, we won. Do not throw away lives chasing an enemy in retreat. The battle was over. The cost was enormous. 200 ships destroyed, 50,000 lives lost from various species. The Retribution was gone, along with its captain who had tried to sacrifice himself, saved by the redemption of an enemy turned friend. Marcus floated in his escape pod, waiting for recovery. He was alive. They had won, but the victory felt hollow. So many dead, so much destroyed. When he was finally recovered, he found himself on a medical ship. Elena was there, tears streaming down her face. You stupid, brave, wonderful man, she said. Do not ever do that again. I will try, Marcus said. Then quieter. Thralzek saved me. I know. His sacrifice gave us time, and his people know it. He died a hero. Marcus closed his eyes. A hero. The being who had murdered 40,000 humans had died protecting those same humans and their allies. Redemption was possible. Change was possible. Even in the darkest times, hope survived. 50 years later, a human teacher stood before a class of young aliens on a colony world. She was old now, her hair white, but her eyes were still bright. Today we are going to talk about the Void-born War, she said. Can anyone tell me what that was? A young Crevalian raised one hand. It was when the galaxy almost died, but the humans saved us. Not just humans, the teacher corrected gently. Everyone saved us. Humans, Crevalians, Vrun Karathi, Over 40 species work together. That is the real lesson. But humans are the strongest, right? Asked a small Pelthian child. My parents say humans are the most dangerous. The teacher smiled sadly. Humans can be dangerous, yes. But do you know what makes them truly special? They choose not to be. Every day they have the power to do terrible things. But they choose kindness. They choose mercy. They choose to protect instead of conquer. Are humans still dangerous? The Crevalian asked. The teacher looked out the window at the stars. In orbit, a massive warship hung in space. The TDS Second Chance rebuilt from the wreckage of the Retribution. A memorial and a warning. Yes, she said honestly. Humans are still dangerous. But they are dangerous to those who threaten the innocent. They are dangerous to evil, and they are the best allies you could ever have. She turned back to her students. The Voidborn taught us that the universe has real monsters, and sometimes you need monsters of your own to fight them. But the key is to be monsters who choose to be guardians. I want to be like humans when I grow up, the Crevalian said. The teacher smiled. Then be strong, be brave, but most importantly, be kind. That is what makes a guardian. As the class ended and the children filed out, the teacher looked at a photo on her desk. Admiral Marcus Chen, older now, standing with Ambassador Elena Kovar at the dedication of the Second Chance. They had married 5 years after the war. Both had dedicated their lives to ensuring the coalition remained strong, but never corrupt. The teacher was their daughter, and she would spend her life teaching the next generation what her parents had learned the hard way. Power without compassion is tyranny. Compassion without power is useless. But power with compassion can change the universe. The humans had proven that, and the galaxy would never forget.